Exercise 6 is organ systems. And so just to back up for a minute, as you start reading your textbook, you'll notice that we're going to start on a way smaller scale than organ systems. We're going to start with atoms and build atoms into molecules, molecules into cells, and then cells into tissues. So you might have heard of things like nervous tissue or epithelial tissue. Then we'll put those tissues together into organs. And then finally, we'll reach the level that we call organ systems. So the first, 4 or so chapters of your textbook are related to sort of building up to the point of organ systems. But it's helpful to have a sense of the organ systems before we begin. So what we want to do in this exercise is consider the 11 organ systems of the human body. So I encourage you to try to think of those before you do the exercise. See if you can think of those 11 on your own, and you might be surprised at how many you recognize. But we'll just take a minute and work through them together. So the first one that's mentioned, it has a couple of names. So in this exercise they call it the circulatory system. I would argue that cardiovascular system is more widely used, but the cardiovascular or circulatory system includes the heart, the blood itself, and the blood vessels. And we'll learn that there is a continuous loop throughout the body, and the heart is the pump for that fluid, the blood, that serves all of our cells. It delivers nutrients, it picks up wastes, and we'll see that there's really quite an important role of the cardiovascular system. One of the terms that you'll see quite a bit throughout the semester is homeostasis. Homeostasis is internal balance. And when I do organ systems, you'll see each chapter is usually related to an organ system. Once we get past chapter 4, I always say this is the most important system. And then the next chapter I say this is the most important system, because they all have such an important role in homeostasis. So cardiovascular is one that actually will cover several chapters: the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. The next one is maybe more familiar, the digestive system. The digestive system is one continuous tube from the mouth to the anus, and it includes along the way things like the small intestine, the large intestine, and various accessory structures like the liver and the pancreas. So you take in food every day, and your body will process that food, extract the nutrients, absorb them, and eliminate wastes in the form of feces. So the digestive system. The third one, the endocrine system. This is one that will be towards the end of our 8-week session. The endocrine system is a series of glands throughout the body, and those glands secrete fluids, usually hormones, into the bloodstream, and those are delivered then to other regions of the body. So the endocrine system we think of as communication, and the endocrine system, some major glands that you might have heard of: the pancreas, the thyroid, the ovaries and testes, and many other glands. The next system is the integumentary system, maybe better known as the skin. It would also include the hair and nails. The integumentary system, if we think of square footage, is probably the largest system. It covers and protects our body. It prevents pathogens from getting established. And it's one of the first systems that we'll be looking at once we get through, like I said, the chemistry and the cellular material. The immune system, sometimes called the lymphatic system. Actually, in this particular image, they have listed those separately, the immune and lymphatic systems. But I found that most textbooks are lumping those two together. The lymphatic and immune systems are usually lumped together. So the lymphatic system would be the lymph nodes, the lymph vessels. It contains fluid called lymph. It's not blood. It's actually returning fluids to the blood. And as part of its role, the white blood cells and other cells found within the lymphatic system are protecting you. So that's where that immune system role comes in. So immune and lymphatic systems, I would say, consider together. The muscular system, there are different types of muscle, although you're probably most familiar with skeletal muscle, things like your pectoralis major or your biceps, brachii. But there are other types of muscle like smooth muscle and cardiac muscle, and we'll talk about the differences and similarities among the muscular systems. Respiratory system, the lungs, the trachea, the sinuses. This would be important for gas exchanges. We need oxygen. We eliminate CO2 during our breathing processes. We have to have that exchange of oxygen and CO2. The reproductive system, this is important and necessary to create offspring, and we'll see that in comparing male and female that this is one system where we actually see differences. In general, the body systems are the same between males and females, maybe larger in males in some ways, but in the reproductive system we do see distinct differences. The skeletal system, we've already kind of used the skeleton as a landmark. The skeleton would be the bones and the cartilage. It's covering and protecting organs. It's also supporting and aiding in body movements. And then finally, the urinary system. In the urinary system, the kidneys, the bladder, the urethra, the ureters, these are a system that would be filtering wastes and eliminating the waste in the form of urine from your body. So these systems are all going to work together and help us maintain what we think of as homeostasis of the body. I would ask you to look through that lab exercise entitled An Overview of Anatomy. There is a worksheet. It's a table where you fill in the different organ systems, and I think that you'll find that that's helpful to work through. And then, as I said, we will have a quiz through Blackboard at the end of the week.